We're the legends of the Stoop. We're here to advocate, educate, and inspire society.
Welcome back to Legends of the Stoop. I am your host, Mike Pernice. Today, joining me on the Stoop is a diverse musician and vice president of the Copa Club at Point Park University. He plays several instruments and has participated and starred in musical performances such as Beauty and the Beast. I welcome none other than Tim Judah to the Stoop. Tim, thank you for stopping by the Stoop today. I greatly appreciate you being here. How you doing today?
And I'm doing good, bro. Never better. I'm just moving to my new space, but I appreciate you, bro. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope the move has gone well. We were talking before the show, settled out in Crafton, so you're a little closer to me now. So we definitely got to hook up, grab a drink here soon. Especially before, who knows if the whole restaurant industry might be closing up shop here as we head into the fall with the Delta variant, kind of just exploding. But worst comes to worst, we can always sip on a little gin on the front porch here.
Yes, sir.
So Tim, why don't you go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself to the audience, let them know who you are.
Bet. Well, I'm Tim Judah. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. That's home. 23, about to turn 24 on Sunday. So you already know.
Early birthday.
Oh, right. I could think of myself as just a music artist. Like, I don't want to limit myself in boxes such as, oh, he's a singer, he's an R&B, blah, blah. I'm trying to do it all. You know what I mean? Catch me on top of the pop charts, R&B, rap, alternative, you know what I mean? I want to do it all. I'm just somebody who just loves music. I'm very passionate about it, and I want to share my gifts with the world.
Well, hey, Tim, that's exactly why we're here today, right? It's a show basically off what music you have and what music you have coming up. We talked a little bit before the show started of just kind of like how what you just said right there, just kind of elaborating on it, just like how you want to be basically a one-stop shop where people can come and sample different types of genres with the same artists. And I remember in the previous interview I had with Slim Trendy, we kind of touched on this subject as well of how artists, we feel like, just a decade ago, were kind of demonized for showcasing like the variety, right? It was like, you're a rapper, we want you to just make rap music. You're a country singer, just make country music, right? But I feel like that has kind of shifted now. I feel like we're kind of entering into a new era where we want our artists to show their versatility. I feel like we appreciate our artists more now than what we did back then. What's your perspective and take on that?
And honestly, like, even growing up, rap was not a big music choice in my family growing up. You know what I mean? Like, my parents did not like rap. They didn't like cussing. They didn't like all that. It was mainly just R&B, soul, and gospel. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So like, that was very hard to try to go into because of, how they were raised. They were raised in a Christian way. You know what I mean? So I was very insecure about my love for it. Mm-hmm. But once I moved out to Pittsburgh to go to Point Park, I was just surrounded by new energies, surrounded by more openness and acceptance, you know what I mean? And that was easier for me to be like, you know what, let me do this, you know what I mean? I'm good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really being shot down on. I mean, haters, of course you have haters, but I'm not really being shot down on. This is what I want to do, this is how I want to live my life. If you don't like that, then,
Now the question I have for you then is, do the parents approve? Is this parent approved, or is Tim Judah kind of rebellion?
I'm rebellion. I did have a conversation with my mom like last summer. It was honestly a pretty hard conversation. I was like, yo, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm kind of grown right now. So I cuss my music. I talk about this, I talk about that. That was just more of like a respect thing of like, mm-hmm. she's going to come across my music at some point.
Right.
She's going to listen to it. So that was kind of like just in case she comes across it, she knows.
Right.
So like that was kind of a hard conversation, but at the end of the day, like of course I'm being rebellious, you know what I mean? It goes a little further than that, but
Right.
I'm expressing myself.
So did you grow up then? Like you brought up the Christian background in your family. Did you grow up singing in like the church choir then? Is that how you kind of got started, or was it just more so just involved like between like your parents or like and like some sort of like elderly figure who you just like kind of got exposed to that like kind of like sparked this inspiration for music?
Honestly, no. As far as church and everything, as a child growing up, I was just there. Um, my mom, she sung in the choir, she played keyboard. My dad, he's always been like the lead keyboard, lead organ player. And my
Hmm.
brother started off playing drums, and then he ended up playing bass. And then eventually I started playing saxophone at church.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm not like, you know, I never really knew I could sing in that
So
way.
so
You
the
know?
so you used an alternative instrument as your voice for a while. So
Mhm.
when was this change kind of made? How long did you play saxophone for? And then when did you start to discover your love for singing and your ability to sing?
So I started playing saxophone in sixth grade. That was kind of like you need to either be in chorus or band or something. So
Hmm.
I chose saxophone because my older brother played saxophone.
Gotcha.
But like not to, gas myself up, but like I was hella good. You know what I mean? I was hella good. And so yeah, so I just kept with it. I eventually transferred from like my public school to a performing arts school in middle high school to where I
Okay.
was able to focus on that. And that was my major for my entirety of school. I got into theater and like singing and stuff senior year in high school. I was a double major, vocal and saxophone. I think they just needed a low voice, honestly. That's why I was in that.
Hmm.
But we were forced to audition for this show, Beauty and the Beast. I auditioned, got it, and being on that stage, like it was wild. You know what I mean? There was a lot of stuff I needed to figure out by myself.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's something that the spotlight does to a human, right? When you're kind of put out into an environment where one, you may not totally feel comfortable, right? And you kind of feel the pressure, especially when you think about like you taking on the lead role in a musical where you don't have any really prior experience, right? Stepping on a stage like that.
Right.
What was that like? That moment, opening night, it's just like probably for me, like when I was running out on a Friday night football game, under the lights, like it's the same kind of, feeling, just a different environment. What did that environment feel for you in that moment?
It felt great, man. It was a rush. It was a high. It was something that I didn't know I was good at. I'm one of those people, like, I'm very respectful of career choices. So if I feel like I'm stepping in somebody's lane and I'm not doing something to their standards, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'll feel bad. I'll step away. And that's kind of how it was when we first started rehearsals. I've never acted before, you know what I mean? And I was acting with all these musical theater majors, actors, and I was just being too hard on myself, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm not doing this right, in my head. But once I got it, bro, that entire process, it was it, man. It was that standing ovation for me.
Yeah. Now,
Mhm.
so I know you continued then on to the University of Cincy, correct?
Yep.
And at the time, you were still a major in the saxophone.
Yep.
So, talk to me a little bit about what it was like to major as a saxophone player, right? Going into college's first 2 years, and then what led to you then transferring to then Point Park and changing your major into musical theater. So, because I'm just trying to just piece together basically the journey to where you are now.
Mhm. Well, after doing Beauty and the Beast, like I was a little confused about like, in my choices and everything. Like at that point, I had already auditioned for colleges for jazz. I didn't expect all this to happen. And I was already accepted. So like, after doing that, that made me very confused. And I loved what I did. I also love
Mhm.
saxophone, but I was being hit with like, it was a lot of pressure for that. And I don't like being pressured.
For saxophone, you mean?
Yeah, for
Like
saxophone.
to like pursue that path.
Yep, because
And
my family, my family is, musicians. You know what I mean? Like my dad plays keyboard and everything. My mom plays keyboard. She sings. My brother plays bass, drums. You know what I mean? So like it was that pressure of like, yeah, if he's gonna grow up, he's gonna be a musician. He's gonna, he's gonna be like me. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that.
mm-hmm.
And that kind of puts, very much so pressure, especially, since my parents were paying, for that stuff. So,
Right.
so I go, I go there, and like I liked it. It wasn't like too difficult or anything. My heart wasn't in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of did slack off. And instead of practicing and stuff, I was looking up like different ways to act. You know what I mean? Different ways to, place my vocals and, like my chest, my head, like falsetto, stuff like that. I eventually got a voice teacher there. I had to drop one of my electives for jazz. I dropped that for a vocal lesson.
Okay.
And I started getting better. And so I really, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I was really slacking off, bro. I took a week off so I could go to Chicago and audition for different schools.
Oh, okay.
And then once I got into Point Park, man, I said bye-bye.
Yeah.
I feel bad, but at the end of the day, like I'm very content with where I am right now. And if I didn't do that, like I feel like I wouldn't be Tim Judah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was still Tim Richardson then, but I would not have been Tim Judah. I would not have found my own image, my own style,
Mm-hmm.
acting, singing, I wouldn't have found that. So I'm really
And
grateful.
and it's not so much like your own image and your own style. It's like almost just finding you and who you want to be, right? And there's kind of like there's a saying that find what you love, right? Like find a hobby that you love and make it your career. Well, I feel like that's like just like I feel like that ruins then the hobby, right? You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like I love cooking, but would I want to go work in a restaurant as, a cook working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, only making like $12, $15 an hour? Hell no, I wouldn't want to do that. I'd rather enjoy it and do it here in the house. You know what I mean? So I feel like it kind of hit that point for you with the saxophone where it's like you're being forced into playing it. So then the enjoyment of it, right? The enjoyment of the process, you kind of the interest just starts to fade, right? When
Mm-hmm.
we're forced into something that we truly just don't want to do.
Exactly. Yeah, and yeah, it was even harder, especially on family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you feel like you let your family down, that's kind of a lot. So
Yeah, that's a big like emotion and thought to like sit with and to have to wrestle with over what choice is ultimately best for you, right? Because it's
Mhm.
like we all feel pressure from our families in some sort of ways, right? Like every parent, whether they say it or not, like wants their kid to be the president of the United States, but in reality, there's one job, that's only one job out of the thousands that are out there. So it's like we kind of have to at a certain point figure out our own way for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like the parental guidance and input, like, still valued, but at the end of the day, it's our life.
yeah, I mean, you're speaking the truth, bro.
So
Speak facts.
so talk to me then a little bit about once we got this voice coach, right? And we've transferred to Point Park. So you started, I see you here on your Spotify page. The first song came out in 2019, Never Leave. And then we had Drip followed it up at 2020. So talk to me a little bit about the process of producing your first two singles, and just what that was like in terms of recording, marketing. Who were you trying to contact with in order to get this stuff done? Talk to me a little bit about this journey here.
Well, both of them, they were completely different experiences. Like the first one, I didn't really expect to release it. You know what I mean? One of my friends who, played at my old church, he was a keyboard player, and we always did gigs together. We vibed. He has his own studio, and I knew that. And I wrote this song, trying to tell, this girl how I felt. You know what I mean? I mean, as you can hear, you know what I mean?
Standing out her window with the boom box.
There, you already know.
Throwing
You
rocks
already
at the
know.
window.
You already know, like, love me. But yeah, man, like this girl, she's doing her thing now. We're still really close friends, but that, I just really just wanted to make that for her, because I've always had issues just saying how I feel, but it's easier for me to sing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hit him up. We made that song from scratch. Actually, like, was playing around on my keyboard, and I was like playing chords and stuff. And when we went in, I told him what the chords I wanted, and he was like, "Hey, what if we did this? What if we did that?" So we worked that from scratch. Literally from metronome beat up until kind of like the the orchestral vibe it is. And it was a really fun experience. I really enjoyed myself. I learned a lot about recording, and I learned a lot of like how to push myself to, really become, what I wanted to be. Right. And, shout out to her. I put my entire heart into that. And that really learned me that, it's okay to be vulnerable in music. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, like what you're going through, somebody else is going through that. So They listen to that, they feel it, it hits. So yeah, that was a really, fun experience, really, personal song. I released it. So it's out there now. I like it.
Yeah. No, like I think it's a very good vibe, and it's something that, when you like think about your background, right? And like with the saxophone and just like kind of more of these, string and wind instruments and stuff like that you were always present around, probably in the room, right? And like music classes and stuff like that. And then you add in this like new discovered instrument, which is your voice. It's like, this is definitely where we see this journey begin. And it kind of makes sense that it's your first song, right? Because it's like the things that you're basically familiar with at the time. Now, transitioning to Drip, we start to kind of then like I still get more like it's like a kind of like a serenading vibe, like in your voice still, that's like very similar to Never Leave as well. But we start to break away then, right, into more of like an R&B kind of hip hop type of a genre here. So talk to me a little bit about this transitioning away from things that are familiar to now things that are new and exciting and that you're trying out.
Well, when I wrote Drip, let me think. Southwest different, Victor.
Yeah.
My dude, Southwest. He inspired that song for me because when we first met, or like when we first like hung out for the first time, made music, he pushed me because he knew that, I wanted to rap, but I was very insecure about that. He was like, "Man, just go for it, man. Just like, nobody's ever good the first time, bro. Go for it. You'll get better. You're still new to making music. You will get better." So, I just started looking up beats on YouTube, and I get that vibe. And, it was a summertime vibe. I'm like, let me do something different. It was a very experimental phase. I'm still experimenting to this day. You know what I mean? Like, experimenting with sounds, what works for me. But, that was just like the first real song that I did that like I was putting my art into it and not as much as my heart. Because Never Leave, that was all heart, but it just happened to turn into art. But this, I was like, let me do this, let me do that. It wasn't really about anybody. It was just about experiences.
Yeah, creating. It was about being a creator in the moment.
Yeah. It was just like experience, like bring that ass over. I made that song, brought it over to my producer Tim Carr. Shout out to Shuffling Sounds. And he made that into the song it is. And that's always going to be deep in my heart because that's like the first full song that I've written.
Yeah. Well, what do you say we go ahead and give a little preview for the audience here?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me go ahead and cue this up here. So Drip is out on all platforms here, as you see here on the screen. Can be found right on Spotify here. And I'm going to drag us over here onto the screen. And let's go ahead and play Drip.
Yeah. Gotta put this mic down. Love. Yeah, so I was gonna try something different. I didn't know how it was gonna be, but I guess we'll see, right? Love. Let the water drip, 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 drip. Let it drip on your body. Let the water drip, 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 drip. Ain't nobody else but you and me. Let the water drip, 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 drip. Let it drip on your body. Let the water drip, 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 drip. Ain't nobody else but you and me. Make sure that the water's high. Nothing can compare with you there. I don't really wanna lie. It's lonely when I'm in by myself. It's about 4:45. I'm on the way, can you tell? Come on in, the water's fine. I'll treat you better than last time.
Dude, that is a bop. And your voice, like, I can't believe you were hiding that behind a saxophone for so long.
Yo, but shout out to the saxophone though, because I feel like that's my voice. Like the way I play saxophone is the exact same way I sing.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
So like improvisation was like a big thing with me. I love jazz, just do that. Like the way I played it, like I was always different from your average saxophone player. I had a very much so like smoother tone than what you would hear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just like my voice is literally how I sound on the saxophone.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very smooth voice, and you hit your range very well. Like it's not choppy at all. Like you carry very well. I will say that you do, and it's very obvious in all the music that you do. Like even on the Redefined Music project, and the songs that you're featured on there, like it's the same thing. Like your voice is very consistent and it flows, and it's just like, honestly, it's just aesthetically pleasant to listen to. It really is. Yeah, like it's you got one hell of a voice there, my friend.
Man, I appreciate that, bro.
So talk to me then a little bit about what is coming up. So where are we taking this voice? What are we trying to do with it now? So just kind of give me, what you're trying to execute, what you're trying to experiment with. I want to hear about it.
So because like I'm a very like, all over the place person, I try to put that in my music. So I'm using, singles, maybe EPs and stuff like that to help to see, what works for me, what reads well, with audiences and stuff like that, trying to find vibes and stuff like that. So, yeah. So,
is there like anyone in particular like you're trying to like work with in terms of like getting beats from, like, or are you just kind of like, do you make the beats yourself nowadays? What are you doing?
Oh, no. Nah. Eventually I'm gonna get to a point where I have an engineer where I can share my ideas because I have a very like musical mind.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I can just make I can just make lyrics, make melodies out of thin air. I just need, like the proper like instrumentation behind it. But eventually, like somebody who I'm really trying to work with, he's up there. I'm really trying to work with Timberland.
Okay.
That's
Talk
somebody.
to me about him.
Huh?
Talk to me about him.
Timberland. Timberland. Famous producer, produced for Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay. Oh. So you're good. Okay.
Man, I'm thinking big picture.
Yeah.
But like right now, I've really been vibing with this producer on YouTube called 18,
Okay.
EEN. A lot of my music is his beats. And, even though I don't know that man, like I can tell we have similar vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So I really hope that, he can listen to some of my stuff. I will, email him, what I'm using, out of respect. Like, hey man, I bought a lease for your beat.
Right.
This with it. Stuff like that. I really want to start off, I really want to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving up, go up to the, bigger producers. So I kind of started off kind of high. But so let's just rewind a bit. But 18 is somebody who I really want to work with. And I don't know. It's just, most of the stuff is just my vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So talking about your vibe, I know you have a couple singles coming out. I know one of them is actually coming out in a couple days here on August 6th. But I want to talk about Bring You Up first before we talk about Gassin next. So talk to me a little bit about Bring You Up. Talk to me, what is the sound that I'm going to be hearing? What went into making it? And then what is like the marketing kind of scheme that you have for it as well?
So the vibe of Bring You Up, this is very much so like slow jam, late night drive, like, you sparking up, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe drink. This is a very relaxing, in your mind song.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I want most of my music to go to. I want to make music for late night driving. I want to make music for you're in your thoughts. You need something to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
But for like all occasions of moods as well. So this one I believe hits. It's pretty much about my experiences with like talking to somebody, talking to a lady, and she just needs that confidence, but then like when you try to hype her up and stuff like that, give her compliments and stuff, she'll shut it down, like, no, I'm not, you know what I mean, when you're
Right.
like, no, you're beautiful. Yep. No, I'm not. That can get kind of frustrating after a while, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
but is this like you kind of releasing the frustration of like being the person who's trying to hype up, and is this like not able to break through, or is this more of like her side of the story, like about like the insecurities?
This is my side of the story and what I'm receiving.
Okay.
I don't really know what's in her head, but I know what I know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this is what's happening. This is how I feel. Listen to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like you're just not being heard. Like you feel like you're just not being heard in this situation. Yeah. Okay, I got you. So what do you say we go ahead and sample then Bring You Up for the audience?
Let's go for it.
Oh, before I do, any projected release date? Any bet you want to throw to the audience?
We will see.
We'll see.
We will see.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So here we go. Bring You Up, coming soon on all platforms.
No, ain't no room to be doubtful. Yeah, you ain't gotta be worried. You gotta feel it out more. Yeah, even if you wanna tell it to your best friend. Yeah, take it to the council. Yeah, they gon' say the same thing that I taught ya. Hey, it's not on ya. I never wanna take you for granted, baby. Your heart is on your sleeve. I wanna take it. Hey, put your eyes on me. Swear it's enough.
Yeah, that's a vibe. That is a vibe, bro. Wow. again, just like the smoothness in your voice, man, is just like you like I always catch myself just like kind of like flowing with you as you move again like up and down that scale. Like it's incredible kind of the just like the connection that you kind of like feel with your voice in the song. It's again, it's just very powerful.
I mean, I appreciate that. That's exactly what I'm trying to like put out. You know, what I mean, that's exactly what I'm going for. Cause like I want people to feel the same about what I'm doing that I do. You know what I mean? You know, like when I make music, when I listen to certain things that hit me when I'm singing, I tend to flow. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I listen to music and I'll just like, you know what I mean? I'll
Yeah,
just,
no, right. Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to go for. I want it to be like I'm singing through you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, ooh.
It's kind of weird because like you didn't sing in a church choir, but yet I get that like kind of that same, I don't know, like when you hear some like when you go to a church, right, and you hear like someone who just is belting it out in the choir, right, who just like really sticks out from the rest, and you're like just really drawn to them, like that energy they create in the room, right?
Yep.
It's like the same kind of that presence I get from you in that song there, especially. Again, is just like kind of just like, you know, you're pulling me, your voice just like pulls me into the song, and then with the beat that you've laid behind it as well, and I can hear like a little bit of, is that like water just like kind of just like dripping?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
like it's very, it again, it's all just like very fits very well.
Appreciate that, man. And that's another thing, like you're really hitting it, because that's another thing that like I think of, like, or I try to put out there. Like I do think of, like, you know, my ballad stuff, my singing stuff as water.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when water would drink from, you know, when it would, you know, drip from the faucet into
Yeah.
like a pool of water and do that little wave thing.
Yeah, the ripples.
Yep. Yep. That's exactly what I'm going for.
Yeah, fluidity, man.
Sure.
Fluidity is the name of the
Also, shout out
game.
to 18, because 18 did that beat.
Yeah,
18
yeah,
did that beat.
that's a nice beat, bro. So pivoting to Gassin, how does like bring you up compared to Gassin?
Um, it honestly doesn't. Well, it so gassing, it's just pretty much like the feeling of somebody gassing you up. You know,
Okay.
it's especially like gassing up yourself and then your loved ones gassing you up. There's no better feeling, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just gonna say I love attention, bro. Like, I love to feel hyped up, because when I feel like people have my back and like they know what I'm trying to accomplish and they're there for it,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I'm at my best.
Right.
Then I'm also at my second. I'm also at my best when nobody's for it. Maybe I'm just my best. I don't know.
Always at his best.
but yeah, this song is really just about like, you know, how like your loved ones, your homies, you know, your family, you know, how it feels when they gas you up. But it is like talk to like a woman.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and sample then gas in here for the audience.
You're gonna
Again.
gas, and I'm gonna share that. I'm gonna share that cover out with y'all.
Oh, dude, that's a sick cover art. Who did your cover art?
I did that actually.
Dude, that's nice. What did you do it on?
It was this free app that lets you use free images with no copyright. So thank God I'm not gonna get sued. But
dude, that's hard.
Yeah, appreciate that.
You
and
know,
that's
you know
at
what
the
you
bottom.
should look. You know what service you should look into, or app
So-
I should say, Adobe Spark. It's
Mm.
it's a really like user friendly, like right on your iPhone. You can make like this same exact cover right on there in like probably 15 minutes, and it's all free as well.
Yeah, this took me about 15 minutes as well.
Yeah, dude, I like that.
Appreciate that.
All right, let's go ahead and sample Gassin here. Again, available on all platforms, August 6th at midnight. So make sure you go into the link in his bio and hit that pre-save now. Or if not, again, make sure to check it out after August 6th at midnight. Again, releasing on all platforms.
Sir.
Hey girl, clarity is the only thing on my mind. Hey girl, no, you can't handle me. You face the facts, you disagree. You have done it before. The wedges in between is no dividing no more. I can't describe it no more, but you do. You're gassing me up. Yeah, you're gassing me up. Yeah, you're gassing me up. I said you're gassing me up. You're gassing me up. You're gassing me up. You can't hit my line.
Dude, I like that one. I think that's my favorite one.
Yes, sir.
I
Appreciate
think
that.
that's
man.
my favorite one. Dude, that's like, it gives me more of like, I totally agree. Bring You Up is like a driving song.
Mhm.
To me, Gassin is like, I'm sitting on the beach like at sunset, like sipping on a Corona with a lime in it. You know what I mean? Just like,
Sir.
it's like it feels more of a very similar to Drip in that, like, kind of like the summer vibeness to it.
Mhm.
That's what I kind of get from Gassin. What do you think?
Yeah. And that's exactly why I am dropping it in the summer, because I've noticed I am a summer artist, but you know what I mean?
makes all the when did you record Gassin? I'm just kind of curious.
I recorded Gassin last month.
Okay.
I
Quick
recorded
turnaround.
last month. I wrote it in about 20 minutes. It was just, it was just something, I'm like, I feel like writing, I feel like being creative, let me do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked it. And so I was like, let me take it to the studio real quick. Took it to the studio. And I was like, this is like a good representation of like what's coming next.
Right.
Like my plans for next summer, it's not going to be, what you hear. And
Mm-hmm.
I just, and like what I'm trying to show is that like, don't get used to what you're hearing now, because you don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
said, my mind is very sporadic.
Right.
So you don't know what you're going to get. So, you're going to get some good stuff, of course, but you don't know what you're going to get from me.
Right. So these two singles, did they show any indication of what to expect from the EP that you're going to be dropping in September, Symphonies?
So, Bring You Up is on the EP.
Okay.
Gassin is not.
Okay.
Gassin is just something that like, I feel like is, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't need a project around it. You know what I mean? Like you can just listen to that song whenever you want.
Right.
It's also to show like, hey, I'm still here, because I haven't dropped in over a year. I'm still here. I'm still working, and like I'm getting better.
Right. No, I mean, I totally agree. And just in terms of like, I loved seeing just like the creativeness and just like kind of just like how you're letting it flow through you, and just seeing like where it takes you and what you're going to develop with it. I mean, we talked earlier before the show about how, the one of the reasons of getting out of majoring as a saxophone player is the fact that you're pigeonholed, right?
Mm.
We talked about like we don't like that feeling, you know what I mean, of just being like, hey, you're this, right? We want to be able to essentially, dip our toes in as many pools as we can. So again, like I really like what I'm hearing here, and I, very excited to see what you have coming up past these, little previews that we showed here for the audience.
Hey, I'm not gonna let anybody down. I'm telling you that. Speaking of that, one second. Let me grab my laptop charger.
Yeah, no problem. So just in terms of symphonies, what can you tell me or tell the audience? You mentioned that Bring You Up is on that EP, but what more can you tell me about the EP? What more can you give away to us here today?
It's different.
In what
It's
aspect?
It's different from what you've heard before. Like of course it fits in like a music genre, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's different, and it's mainly different from what you think you're going to expect of me.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, guys, make sure again to tune in to Gassin coming out August 6th at midnight, and then Symphonies, which is going to be dropping later sometime in September. Tim, thank you so much for stopping by the Stoop today. I greatly appreciate having you on the show. Please do yourself the favor and give yourself a shout out. That way people know where to find you, your music, stay up to date about everything Tim Judah.
Perfect. All right, y'all, hit me up on Instagram, Facebook. Instagram is Tim_Judah. One more time, Tim_Judah. Facebook is just Tim Judah. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Tim Judah. Please tune in. Pre-save Gassin. It will show up in your library if you do, exactly at midnight. And the link is in my Instagram bio. And you can also listen to, other stuff that I'm currently on. You know what I mean? I've done a lot of features, so you'll be able to see that on my page. But just tune in. Y'all won't regret it. Y'all about to hear a new Tim Judah.
Hey, you heard it here, folks. Everyone, again, Tim Judah stopping by the Stoop. Again, man, thank you so much for stopping by. Anything that I can do in terms of helping you throughout the course here, just let me know. As always, please tell all the boys over at Redefine I say hello, and that my support is still here and alive. For any of those who are looking to come on the show as well, please send them my way. For the audience, as always, make sure to tune into our website at www.legendsofthestoop.com to stay up to date on everything, including new episodes, merchandise. The links to our socials are on there for Instagram and Facebook. And please do not forget to rate, share, view. I don't care. You know what to do. I appreciate all the love and support. Again, this is your host, Mike Pernice, signing off.